All right, Frank. How are you?
Well, thank you.
I can't get away from Franksgiving. It
Frankly
sticks.
speaking,
Frankly speaking,
I,
Frank's,
Get away from it, John. Get away from it.
right?
it's a lot of
Move
fun.
along, move along. That's funny. So let's talk about 'tis the season. Let's talk about sales and marketing during the holiday seasons and some of the dynamics that play out, et cetera. Let's start on the marketing side and your expertise, Lee. Talk a little bit about marketing during the holiday season, some of the things to be cautious of. You mentioned some things up front that I think were really important. But
Right.
just talk about that reality.
I mean, in every possible way, this time of the year is just cluttered. It's cluttered with things to do, things to see. Your inbox is absolutely cluttered. We just recently experienced Cyber Monday, and there was a statistic that something like 50% of employers anticipate that their employees will be using work time to shop. So when you think about just everything that's coming at you, we talked about the World Cup's happening now. People are leaving their offices to go watch games. It is difficult to cut through. So I think really thinking about your messaging, what's important, what resonates right now with your clients is smart. And I think there are certain things, particularly with the people in your sphere, John, that is important around year end and tax breaks, benefits. So really thinking about that type of messaging, I think plays well right now. But I also think, that idea of looking forward. And I'm not saying that right now has to be a lost cause, but I think really being cognizant and aware of everything that you're competing with and really spending time to think about how you can cut through that, what you have to say that's important and meaningful, and focusing on that is a top priority.
Yeah, the phrase you used before we jumped on was headspace, meaning we've got a lot of other things happening inside of our head and trying to get around those, through those, et cetera.
Yep.
It's tough. It's tough. We
Yes.
all have a lot happening. What
Mhm.
about on the sales side, Dan?
So I gave you two things that I'd like you to say. So, John, what do you think about meeting with me for sales training? And a prospect will say,
Why don't you give me a buzz back in January?
right. And most salespeople will go, yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense. Yeah.
Yep.
As opposed to, hey, no, that makes sense. Could I make a suggestion? Why don't we schedule something now for January so that we don't have to
That's
play
right.
telephone tag that first week in January?
Yep.
Just stick in that fight a little bit longer. All right, here's the second one. Hey, John, sales training, blah, 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 blah. It costs X amount of money. It's this amount of time. What do you think? And you say,
Dan, we're kind of through our budget for this year. Let's look into next year when we have budget again.
yeah. So a question for all of us watching this. You wake up this morning and you go to start your car and your transmission is shot in your car. How many of you actually have a budget for that? Most people don't. And yet what will they end up doing? They'll spend the $2 to $4 grand to get their car fixed because it's a major problem that needs fixed right now.
Yep.
And so when people are wanting to wait and put things off till next year because of money or budgets, I get it. I get there's reality there. But a lot of it is because we haven't put them in enough pain where they really need our stuff today and not wanting to wait a month or 2 months to try to start to fix it.
Yeah, and I think on both sides, for the salesperson, for the prospects, it just becomes an excuse. It just becomes a reason to stiff arm it and push it out down the road and kick the can and deal with it later.
Well, real good example. I could have a bunch of people coming over for dinner tonight. And if I crack a molar right now, I'm going to the dentist, and I don't care if that dentist appointment takes me through the whole night. I'll miss the family get together because I have such pain, right?
Yep.
So that's also part of the issue is we in sales are not real good at finding and developing pain.
There we go.
I
All
think
right, Frank's
it's
get
sorry, I was
no,
just I think this
come
is
right back.
also a really good time to think about how to be a disruptor. Like we hear that
Oh,
term all the time, and if you can disrupt, now's a good time. And a really good
Yes.
example, in my previous job, I marketed a holiday experience, a place to shop that was different than the malls, but we did geo-fenced advertising at a mall. And the ads were something along the lines of, wouldn't you like your holiday experience to feel like the holidays, or something along those lines? And that was a real opportunity to say, come down here. It's different. It's better. You're not, parking's better, all of that. So
Yeah.
think about how you can disrupt.
I love it.
You had a good reaction to that, Dan. Is there more you want to add on that disruptor side?
Just end this, will you?
All right. We love it. Go disrupt. Goodbye.
Bye.